Part 20. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 191. The test of the famous family guild has been completed. The heads of the other 4 major guilds looked at each other. The beast's blood boils fighting in all directions. The 2 major guild leaders started testing at the same time. Buzz, buzz, the intensity of the test increased. The leader of the Beast Blood Boiled Guild received the evaluation of Epic Perfect and obtained qualification **3. Fighting in all directions, the guild leader actually persisted until the 4th orange beam of light. Obtain the first legendary low rating in the field and obtain qualification star level *32. The guild leader of the Guild of the 4 Directions laughed loudly. He cupped his hands in all directions and said, "Promise. Acceptance." Snored. Sakura Purgatory's Kuroda Takeneo started the test. He gave the Kuangzhan Quartet gang leader a cold look. This is how happy a mere legend is. This is the extent of the ambition and achievements of the Guild of Country Z. Directly increase the test intensity to legendary level. Kuroda Takeneo held his head high, folded his arms, glanced at Suchen standing next to him, and shouted decisively. This time, he not only had to prove his qualifications. He also wanted to impress everyone, especially his respected father. "Sir, you can see how strong Kuroda Takeneo is. He even has a hint of ambition. He wants to prove his qualifications in front of the public. He is stronger and higher than King's Landing. He is more qualified to be the leader of this god's domain. The #1 person in online games." Hearing Takeneo Kuroda's shout, everyone around him immediately looked over. Everyone had heard about this second son of the Sakura Purgatory Guild. It was said that he had been competing with his eldest brother for the right to inherit the family as the second in command of a super guild such as Sakura Purgatory. Everyone feels that Kuroda Takeneo's qualifications must not be lower. But how high it can be depends on the final test results. Buzz. An orange beam of light falling. Kuroda Takeneo's shoulders sank slightly, but he still stood proudly in Taeshung. Such an expression immediately caused a cry of surprise from around him. The legendary test performed so stably. The results are at least legendary and perfect. I just don't know if he can persist to the saint level. Feeling the pressure of the orange light beam, Takei Kuroda raised a proud smile on his lips and shouted. Increase testing intensity. Holy level. Buzz. The first red beam of light in the audience suddenly fell. Kuroda Takeneo didn't pay attention and was directly pressed to his knees on the ground. He roared with a ferocious expression and tried to stand up. But in the end, he just did. Once you're halfway down, you'll never get up again. Ding. Sakura Purgatory Guild player Kuroda Takeneo's final test qualification was Holy Level Low, and he received the reward, qualification star level *4.2. The beam of light disappeared. Takeneo Kuroda returned to his handsome appearance, stroking the sweat on his forehead with his hand while looking down at the audience. Especially the untested unfailing guild leader Soul Battle Octagon, and Suchen, who remained motionless. More it's to get his focus. It turns out to be a saint-level qualification. This second son of Sakura Purgatory is not simple. Is there no one in the Guild of Country Z? To actually let an R player stand on all of us? There is no way. What is tested here is personal opportunity and talent. Strong is strong, weak is weak. No matter how hard you work, you can't change it. Apart from NPCs, the leader of the Fulogo Imperial City Gang has not yet been tested. I don't know if he can beat Takuchi Kuroda. I'm guessing, but the anonymous player hasn't tested it yet. He can deal 10,000 points of attack damage, so his qualifications should be the same. The leader of the Fulogo Imperial City Guild Soul Battle Beifang glanced at Takeneo Kuroda. He commented calmly, "Well, the qualifications are pretty good." Takeneo Kuroda sneered. Oh? Listening to Hunzen Beifang Jun, it seems that you can get higher qualifications than me. Soul Battle Beifang smiled softly and did not answer. Instead, he started the test directly. Increase the testing intensity to the holy level. Soul Battle Beifang's words directly shocked the hearts of all the players in the field. It's actually a saint-level strength. Is he that confident? It is rumored that the leader of the Buluo Imperial City Soul Battle Beifang seems to have obtained a god-level talent. Could it be, is this rumor true? His god-level talent. No wonder he is so calm. Hearing the comments from the people around him, Kuroda Takeneo's face was a little gloomy. He no longer had the intention to pay attention to Suchen beside him. A pair of gloomy eyes fell firmly on Soul Jean Beifang. Buzz. A red beam of light suddenly fell on Soul Battle Beifang. The latter actually remained motionless, as if he didn't realize it. The whole audience suddenly heard a gasp. Saint level, innocent. Oh my god. It's too strong. Soul Battle Beifang chuckled and said, increase the test intensity to the semi-god level. Boom. An unprecedented pillar of colorful light fell. Soul Jean Beifang's straight waist suddenly bent. He took a few deep breaths and struggled suddenly. He stood staggering on the spot again. But his face turned pale, and he had obviously reached his limit. Ding. The final test qualification of the players of the Unluo Imperial City Guild Soul Battle Beifang was Demigod Advanced, and they received the reward, Qualification Star Level *5.8. The beam of light dissipated, and Soul Fighter Beifang frowned slightly. Obviously he was a little dissatisfied with just getting the high-level qualification of a demigod. He has a god-level talent double drops, and logically speaking, the opportunity should not be bad. Could it be that, I formed an alliance with the Church of Light and lost the opportunity? It's just a game, is it so mysterious? Hun Zhan Beifang frowned deeply. Then by some strange coincidence, he looked in the direction of Suchen. If you form an alliance with the Church of Light, and the forces of the Six Realms, you will lose your chance. So, will there be an opportunity to form an alliance with King's Landing? Is he, that King Lin? There are too many weird things in the God's Domain online game. As the leader of a first-class guild, Soul Battle Beifang naturally knows more than ordinary people. His attitude towards this online game is also more cautious than others. He stared at Suchen closely, and fell into he was deep in thought. Even though the guild members around him cheered and congratulated him, it was as if they had not heard it. If this cold and stern young man really changed his appearance in King's Landing and obtained god-level qualifications, then he should seriously reconsider the guild's strategy. Dedicate himself. Is the Church of Light the right choice? The cheers and exclamations in the field gradually subsided. The eyes of all the players once again fell on Suchen, who had been closing his eyes to rest. We've all tested it, and this guy is the only one left among the players. He can deal 10,000 points of attack damage. I don't know what his qualifications are. It should be somewhere between epic and legendary, up to holy level. Huh? Why hasn't he responded yet? Could it be that he fell asleep? Hello? Wake up. It's your turn to test. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 192. I heard noisy urging sounds from around me. Suchen frowned slightly. He looked at everyone strangely. After the qualification score is completed, you can plunder the qualification stars of the week. Before these NPCs complete the test, brother, whose qualifications should I rob? Are you just a few crooked players? Suchen curled his lips and closed his eyes again. Everyone was shocked. I wipe it? What's the meaning? He wants to test behind the NPC. WTF? Each of these NPCs is at least epic level or above. Their strength is there and they are all determined. Do they have to wait until the end to be slapped in the face? Below Imperial City Guild members sneered. Boss, this person is so ridiculous. Does he think that his qualifications are better than those of the adults of the Light Church? Hun Zhan Beifang shook his head slowly and said in a voice that only he could hear. If it's really him, maybe. Kuroda Takina looked at Suchen coldly, trying to see something strange on his face. The celebrity behind the famous world gang leader smiled knowingly when he saw Suchen's reaction. This is the reaction a king's boss should have. You scumbags, just wait to be blinded by the light of King's Landing, boss. The Emerald City NPC general, who was united by famous families, said in a deep voice. Let's start testing too. I hope those damn 6 worlds agent forces can leave some rewards for us in the final part of the plunder. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The 4 NPC generals started testing one after another. Light beams of different colors fell down. 3 of them received epic advanced rewards. Be the first to receive the legendary medium reward. This result did not exceed the expectations of the players present. Because these general NPCs are NPCs with epic and legendary strength. Snored. The generals of the commercial principality are really weak. With this kind of strength, I am really lucky to be able to break into King Yun Palace. Over at the Beast Blood Boiling Guild, 5 NPCs from the Jade Dragon Temple sneered. The Jade Dragon Temple is the agent force of the demonic Jade Dragon in the Divine Continent. It is in existence with the same strength as the Church of Light and the Temple of Darkness. 4 of the male NPCs started testing. Ding. Jade Dragon Temple Elder Holy Demon Dragon Zuyin's final test qualification was Demigod Medium, and he received the reward, Qualification Star Level *5.5. Ding. Jade Dragon Temple Elder Holy Demon Dragon Swallowing the Sea's final test qualification is Demigod Medium, and he received the reward, Qualification Star *5.5. Ding. 4 consecutive copy prompts sounded. All the players looked sideways. All of them are Elder level NPCs. This is equivalent to the existence of a Cardinal of the Church of Light. They are all demigods with medium qualifications. Does this have anything to do with the true strength of the force? Horrible. Beast Blood is Boiling. The guild is really lucky to be able to form an alliance with such a strong P-force. Now it can go sideways in the whole server. There is also an NPC from the Jade Dragon Temple that I haven't tested yet, so I don't know what kind of existence it will be. The 4 NPCs in the Jade Dragon Temple here have finished testing. The 5 members of the Beast Blood Boiled Guild all had red faces and looked proud. His eyes scanned the entire audience with a look of arrogance. The members of the Kezan Quartet snorted coldly. The Solomon sect, which is allied with them, is the agent force of the demon realm Great Demon Solo in the Divine Continent. Naturally, people from the Jade Dragon Temple in the demon realm will not be allowed to be the most beautiful. They also came with 5 NCS, and 4 of the elders also started testing. A series of colorful light pillars fell. There are 4 more demigod level qualifications. One of the elders has even reached the level of a demigod. Immediately afterwards, the 4 NPCs in the Dark Temple could not sit still and took off their hoods one after another, revealing the ID number of the black-robed Soul General. Suddenly, the players on the field all took a deep breath. You know, in the Dragon City battle that just ended, there was only one black-robed Soul General from the Dark Temple. Unexpectedly, 4 terrifying black-robed Soul Generals appeared in a copy of the Imperial City ruins. How terrifying is the last remaining NPC? Black Robe Soul will start testing. As expected, there are also 4 demigod level qualifications. And their qualifications are all high-level demigods. They suppressed the Jade Dragon Temple and the Solomon sect again. But Takaneo Kuroda's face was still as gloomy as water. Staring firmly in the direction of below Imperial City. The Church of Light finally started testing. The 4 test NPCs took off their colored hoods, revealing the ID number of the Red Archbishop under Takeneo Kuroda's gloomy gaze. The results of the qualification test show that 3 demigods are advanced and 1 demigod is perfect. The Church of Light is so terrifying. Among the 4 major forces, the Church of Light is still stronger. It can also be seen from the contribution ranking list that without the anonymous guild, the imperial city supported by the Light Church would always be far ahead. The main NC members of the 4 major forces have completed the test. The exclamations of all the players in the field gradually subsided. Everyone became nervous involuntarily. The atmosphere was oppressive. They all looked at the remaining NPC of each of the 4 major forces. Their hearts were filled with excitement. We know that in the end, who can determine the world and plunder everything depends on these 4 NPCs. Wow! The first female NPC in the Jade Dragon Temple lifted her hood, revealing a pair of jade-colored dragon horns on her head. At the same time, the top of her head was also revealed. Jade Dragon Temple Saint Dragon Ao Kishuang. Different from the 4 elders of the Jade Dragon Temple. Ao Kishang has the same surname as Ao with the Jade Dragon god of the demon realm, and has a trace of real Jade Dragon blood. She is second only to the master of the Jade Dragon Temple. Asmodeus, Sylvia, Douglas, stop hiding your heads and tails. Ao Kishang looked at the leaders of the other 3 major forces and said coldly. There has been no competition for 300 years, so today I just happened to take advantage of the Qingyun Palace to see what our true qualifications are. The old rule is, winner takes all. The loser withdraws from the imperial city ruins and is no longer allowed to covet the sacred objects. Hearing Ao Kishang's words, the leaders of the other 3 major forces took off their hoods one after another. I, the great elder of the Solomon sect, Demon Asmodeus, agreed to the rules of this game. The leader of the Dark Temple, Dark Sylvia, agrees. The Holy Son of the Church of Light, Saint Douglas, agrees. Hearing the conversation between the leaders of the 4 major forces, all the players in the field were stunned, and the 2 groups were fighting. Especially the members of the famous family guild, including the 4 Emerald City NPC generals, also looked horrified. The saint, the great elder, the chief, the holy son, Edi's mother, how could such a being appear here? Any one of them is an earth-shaking existence. What kind of dungeon have I participated in? Damn it, I'm afraid I won't get this qualification reward. With these 4 here, we will only have a share in the plundering process that will follow. Just as all the players were wailing in their hearts. In Qingyun Hall, a sudden sound suddenly sounded. This is a good rule, I agree with it. Suchen, who had been keeping his eyes closed as if sleeping, finally opened his eyes and said calmly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 193. As soon as Suchen said these words. For a while. The air in the entire Qingyun Palace seemed to freeze. So quiet you can hear a pin drop. All the players and NPCs looked at Suchen blankly. Looking at this young man with a cold expression. Takeneo Kuroda, who was standing next to Suchen, looked at him in bewilderment. Damn, this is a conversation between the 4 top power leaders. No matter who you are truly inferior to one person and superior to millions of people. When the king of the principality meets, he must treat him with courtesy. The gang leaders of our first-class guild didn't dare to speak out. You, a level 30 little crazy warrior, how dare you interrupt? How dare you say the rules are good and I agree? Damn, you agreed. Do you have a say here? The leaders of the 4 major guilds, including Takeneo Kuroda, wanted to tear Suchen's mouth out alive. One by one, they looked at the 4 top power leaders with horrified faces. I'm afraid that I will be angry because of Suchen's Meng Lang. Boy, Shut your stinky mouth. You have no place to speak here. The beast's blood is boiling, the gang leader shouted angrily in a low voice. I bumped into 4 adults and killed you until you surrendered. It's easy. Fighting in all directions, the gang leader also shouted fiercely. Kuroda Takeneo, the leader of Fulugo Imperial City Gang, Soul Battle Beifang and Sakura Purgatory, also looked at Suchen angrily. Think about how much money and manpower they have spent on making friends with these 4 major forces. We can't let this rat shit guy ruin their big business. The saint of the Jade Dragon Temple Long Ao Kishuang glanced at Suchen lightly. Many of these foreign players do not understand etiquette, do not distinguish between superior and inferior, and are arrogant. If everyone is not protected by a divine light film around him, with the strength of a saint, she can erase his soul with just a flick of his finger, making him unable to be reborn for eternity. However, such a small person would naturally not be placed in the heart of a dignified saint. The 4 of them seemed to have made an agreement at that moment. Let's start the test together. Coming up is the red holy level light pillar. Under the terrifying pressure beam, the 4 leaders remained motionless, with natural expressions, as if they were unaware. The surrounding players all exclaimed in low voices. As expected of a top NPC, it's so scary. The holy level test is just like playing, it's so easy. Buzz. Just when the 4 people started the test, the 5th test light beam also fell down. All the players looked over. They saw a red holy level light beam falling suddenly from the Qingyun pillar where Suchen was. Suchen, who was enveloped by the light beam, was also motionless, always there, very relaxed and comfortable. Hiss. There was a gasp of cold air in the field. The eyes of all the players were attracted to him. What the hell? Is this better than a saint-level senselessness? I wipe it? No wonder you are so arrogant. He doesn't have the same semi-god qualifications as the leader of Bulugo Imperial City, does he? Does this guy also have god-level talents? Kuroda Takeneo looked at Suchen with a gloomy face. He was standing on the Qingyun pillar next to Suchen. Therefore, he felt the terrifying pressure of the red light pillar the most. Especially when he was tested by himself just now, he was the saint-level light pillar was so heavy that I was half kneeling on the ground, unable to get up. I knew how powerful this light beam was. But I didn't expect that this cold and stern young man would stand proudly on the Qingyun pillar and be indifferent to the saint-level test. And the 4 top NPCs won. Bathing in the beam of light, it was extremely relaxing. Seeing this scene, the uneasiness in his heart became more intense. The leader of the Fulugo Imperial City Gang fought in all directions, staring at Suchen under the red beam of light. His eyes flickered. This guy can't really be King's Landing, right? However, there are not 10 but 8 people who have obtained god-level talents in the God's Domain online game. Maybe he is also a lucky person. With a god-level talent, you can at least test your demigod-level qualifications. But if he were King's Landing, he might really be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the 4 adults. Only the man behind the scenes, the leader of the famous family, looked increasingly excited. Looking at Suchen with strong expectations. King's Landing boss has finally started testing. A bunch of idiots, what is a mere holy level test? The boss of King's Landing is the #1 person in the entire server and is known as the god of killing. Even the true god has been killed. Enough to compete with the leaders of the 4 major forces. I just don't know how qualified the boss of Junlin can be. Suchen's test naturally attracted the attention of the leaders of the 4 major forces. The great elder of the Solomon sect Demon Asmod frowned slightly. A foreign player actually competes with them. And under the holy level light pillar, the performance is the same. This made him a little unhappy. Of course it's just a little bit unpleasant. Players like Suchen would naturally not take him seriously. He snorted coldly and raised the test intensity to the demigod level. Buzz, 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 4 colorful light pillars fell in a row. The 4 top power leaders were bathed in the beam of light, still standing there without frowning. The qualifications that dominate the audience are clearly displayed. His demigod. He actually has true god-level qualifications. This is the strength of top NPC. All the players were amazed. Here, Suchen also said softly. Increase the test intensity to the demigod level. Buzz. The colorful light pillar fell, just like a warm breeze blowing by. The hair fluttered slightly, but the expression did not change at all. The strength of the demigod level test seems to be quite weak. Suchen curled his lips slightly and said in a low voice. This voice happened to be heard by Takeneo Kuroden next to him. The shock in the latter's heart immediately turned into a 5-flavor bottle, and his face immediately became distorted. Semi-god level strength, also quite weak? Then I was half kneeling on the ground and unable to stand up under the pressure of the saint-level beam of light, so what? Trash. Is this how you people from Z country humiliate others? It's a pity that R has too few curse words. He turns over and over again like a bastard, damn it. Takuchi Kuroda yelled hysterically in his heart, his eyes were red. The other players almost stared out of their eyes. Damn it. Another demigod. This guy is actually stronger than the leader of the Buluo Imperial City. Compared with the 4 top NPCs twice in a row. Damn, this guy is actually a big boss. I actually made a mistake. Chwibi has a god-level talent. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 194. Semi-conscious. After Suchen's test this time, the shock to the players was even greater than that of the 4 top NPCs. After all, the 4 adults, the saints of the Jade Dragon Temple, are already powerful. The elders all have semi-god level qualifications. The Saintess, Saint Sun, and others naturally have higher qualifications. But Suchen, a player, can actually compete with the 4 top NPCs, and he is also half aware. This is scary. This means that Suchen's qualifications can break through to the god level in one fell swoop. Ao Kishang, the saint of the Jade Dragon Temple, looked at Suchen in surprise. Ha, that's interesting. In a place like this, I actually saw a foreign player with god level qualifications. The leader of the Dark Temple, Dark Sylvia, sneered. Why, your Jade Dragon Temple wants to recruit him. Ao. Kishuang's cold face showed a hint of sarcasm. Your black-robed soul general in the Dark Temple only has semi-god qualifications. Don't tell me you are not tempted. The Holy Son of the Church of Light St. Douglas looked at Suchen and nodded slightly. He is a good young man who can join my Church of Light. Asmod, the great elder of the Solomon sect, said to Suchen crisply. Hello. Boy, although you belong to the Light Camp, if you join our Solomon sect, our sect can give you an elder level worship position. As soon as Asmod said these words, the eyes of the players in the field were red. The leader of the Crazy Fighting Quartet Guild in alliance with the Solomon cult was so jealous that he went crazy in his heart. Thinking about how much he has contributed to the Solomon cult. With supplies and financial resources, he reluctantly entered the trust list of the Solomon sect. Until now, he was a dignified gang leader, but he only got the empty position of an outer deacon in the Solomon sect. The so-called outer deacon, to put it bluntly, is a low-level, professional. They are just working little fish. But Suchen only stood on the Qingyun pillar for a few minutes. He easily got an elder-level enshrinement position. Moreover, the great elder demon Asmodeus was taught by Solomon. Promise in person. As long as Suchen nodded, he immediately became an elder of a sect, and he had a real position. He could manage the existence of different sects in a country. By then, a huge amount of money and materials would be at your fingertips. Not to mention relying on the Solomon section behemoth, whatever he does when he goes out, Anyone who sees him must salute him with 3 points. The players here are still in shock. St. Douglas over there said. People from the light camp naturally want to join my Church of Light. This little brother, this sect can personally grant you the position of Red Archbishop, and I will leave it to you to take care of the Guangming branch of the commercial principality where you are located. Hiss. As soon as the Holy Son of the Church of Light said these words, the players in the field took a breath of cold air again. The leader of the Fuluo Imperial City gang fought in all directions, and even smiled bitterly. It seems that if I don't stay in the Imperial City, I will have to look at this little brother's eyes to act in the future. The guild has hundreds of thousands of people and has invested hundreds of millions of dollars, including my god-level talent, but it can't compare to him alone. The two major agent forces, the Demon Realm and the Divine Realm, successively extended their branches to Suchen. All the players looked at Su with envy. The latter looked at the Holy Son of the Church of Light and felt a little funny in his heart. I slaughtered 30,000 of your temples and 5,000 of your army of judges, and beheaded the true God sacrificed by one of your red archbishops. What I want to do most is to destroy your home of the Church of Light, but you invite me to be your red archbishop. To be honest, if there is enough time, Suchen really wants to be the red archbishop. Stage in infernal affairs, and finally sit on the position of the Pope of the Church of Light, destroying this agent power of the God realm in one fell swoop. But now there is not enough time. Leading the dragon riders and pushing violently all the way is the most time-saving way. At that moment, Suchen laughed lightly. Son of Light, great Elder Solomon. Haha, you two want to invite me, but you are not qualified enough. As soon as Suchen said this, the players in the field were stunned and had not yet reacted. The cardinals of the Light Church and the elders of the Solomon Church shouted loudly. Presumptuous! A kid with a yellow mouth, you are so arrogant. I invite you because I think highly of you, don't be shameless. The face of the Holy Son of Light was indifferent, and there was no change in emotion. There was just a bit of coldness in his eyes as he glanced at Suchen. As the NPC acting as an agent of the demon world, the great Elder Solomon had a much more straightforward personality. He snorted coldly, you are the first one who dares to speak to the sect like this. If you don't have enough strength, just become the demon puppet of our sect. Don't waste such a good qualification. Ao Kishang, the saint of the Jade Dragon Temple, looked at Suchen with interest. Interesting. If you can prove that you have the same qualifications as us, then even if I, the master of the Jade Dragon Temple, invite you personally, so what? At that moment, she glanced at the Holy Son and the other three people, and shouted coldly. Everyone, stop dawdling and start the real competition. 300 years later, don't tell me you are still standing still. Come on, increase the testing intensity, God level. Buzz, buzz, buzz. In the eyes of all the players and NPCs, 4 unprecedented colorful beams of light suddenly fell. The shoulders of the 4 top power leaders suddenly sank. Finally, they felt the incomparable pressure from Pei Ran. Among them, the great elder of the Solomon sect Demon Asmodeus was directly suppressed and half knelt on the ground. The 3 leaders of the Dark Temple, the Jade Dragon Temple, and the Light Church were not much better. They were all overwhelmed by the weight of the colorful light pillars. The huge force caused them to bend deeply. The 4 of them looked at each other with ferocious faces. There was a fiery fighting spirit in their eyes. Give it to me. Solomon Asmod roared with red eyes. Demonic energy steamed out of his body. He stood up abruptly. However, his entire upper body was still bent at nearly 90 degrees. Asmodeus, I didn't expect that in 300 years, you would only improve so slightly. It's really disappointing. Sylvia, the leader of the Dark Temple, sneered. Then she let out a sweet cry, strained her shoulders, and straightened her entire waist. Although his legs were shaking, his whole body still stood upright on the Kingyun pillar. God level advanced. Asmodeus roared with red eyes, and more demonic energy steamed out. But no matter how hard he struggled, he was still suppressed by the huge power of the seven-colored light beam, unable to stand up straight. Obviously, medium God level qualifications are his limit. The Holy Son of the Church of Light and the Holy Maiden of the Jade Dragon Temple, like Sylvia, stood tremblingly on the Kingyun pillar. Seeing this shocking scene, the players and NPCs in the field did not even dare to express their anger. A true God-level competition. It's really a fight between gods and goddesses. Too strong, really too strong. Just when everyone's minds were attracted by the competition between the four top NPCs. Suddenly an extremely inappropriate voice sounded in the field. Just a God-level test, is it so difficult? That Ahmad guy, you look like this, I'm afraid you have to earn your shit. Suchen shook his head slightly, with disdain in his eyes. At that moment, he whispered, increase the test intensity. God level, _feeler reminds you, 3 things about reading, collect, recommend, and share. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 195. Asmodeus, the great elder of Solomon, was struggling to hold on under the tremendous pressure of the seven-colored light beam. Hearing Suchen's words, he almost spit out blood. He had a ferocious face and protruding veins on his forehead. Staring at Suchen with red eyes, he gritted his teeth and said, Huangkao kid. Buzz. Asmodeus hasn't finished speaking yet. On Suchen's side, a similarly colorful beam of light fell. The 4 top power NPCs all paid attention. In the 7-colored light pillar with supreme power, the cold and stern young man was still standing proudly on the pillar with an indifferent expression. Not to mention hunched over, he didn't even frown. Even the hair was only slightly flicked. God-level insensitivity. Everyone present saw the scene and fell into a dead silence for an instant. The Holy Son of the Church of Light, the Prime Minister of the Dark Temple, the Saint of the Jade Dragon Temple, including Asmod, the great elder of the Solomon sect, all lost their voices when they saw Suchen's appearance. How can it be? Don't you even feel the intensity of the God-level test? Is his test light beam fake? This is a God-level test. He's a level 30 little crazy guy, but he's actually able to defeat 4 top NPC bosses and win the first place. Even the Holy Girl and the Holy Son are not as good as him. This is too powerful. Asmodeus thought of what Suchen had said sarcastically to him before. Just a God-level test, is it so difficult? That Ahmad guy, you look like this, I'm afraid you have to earn your shit. Look at how relaxed they are under the God-level light beam. For a moment, the energy and blood attack the heart, and the mind is lost. Plop. Pressed by the powerful force of the light beam, she is half kneeling on the ground again. Ao Kishuang, the saint of the Jade Dragon Temple, has a full face. He looked at Suchen in shock. He was slightly open and his eyes were wide open. Actually, possesses general God-level qualifications. This is a qualification that only a palace master can possess. Immediately afterwards, Ao Kishuang's eyes burst with blazing heat. If such a person with general level qualifications can be drawn into their Jade Dragon Temple, it will be a great achievement not only for the Jade Dragon Temple. Even the Jade Dragon god of the demon world would reward her. This, young talent. Saint Ao bullied Shuang Jiao in her voice. Her pretty face, which had always been as cold as ice, showed a hint of rossiness for the first time. The name Suchen was called became a young talent. If you are willing to join our Jade Dragon Temple, our sect will personally inform the Palace Master. I believe that our Palace Master will be very happy to accept you. It will even open the Jade Dragon Monument for you alone, clean your marrow, cut your bones, and temper your body. You know, the meat cultivation method of my Jade Dragon Temple is the most powerful among the 6 realms. In addition, Ao Kishang paused for a moment, and a hint of shame appeared on her Chiao face. Asmodeus and others watching this sudden girlish behavior felt as if they had seen a ghost. You must know that Ao Kishang has always been cold and arrogant. Not to mention them, even the master of the Jade Dragon Temple has not met him. Now he actually behaves like this towards a foreign player. Ao Kishang Mei stared at Suchen with blinking eyes, even her voice was a little soft. There are not many rules in the Jade Dragon Temple. This saint does not have the red tape of other sects. If you are willing, practice dual cultivation with me in front of the Jade Dragon Monument, and your body and qualifications will be able to make further progress. Hearing Ao Kishang's words, the other three top power leaders' expressions froze. Sylvia, the leader of the Dark Temple, cursed secretly in her heart. Shameless hooves! In order to attract the other party, not only did he bring out the Jade Dragon Monument, but he also added beauty and temptation. You know, the Jade Dragon Monument, in the Jade Dragon Temple, is a sacred object that can only be used by saints and temple masters. It can greatly improve the physical strength of an individual, and even has the powerful ability to rebirth after cutting off the body. And Ao Kishuang took advantage of this opportunity and wanted to unite with Suchen in front of the Jade Dragon Temple. It was a plan that killed two birds with one stone. Not only did she use her beauty to lure the other person to join the Jade Dragon Temple, but she also gave herself the opportunity to improve her qualifications again. With such conditions, not to mention that the Holy Son of the Light Church and the Grand Elder of the Solomon sect can't come up with it. Even Sylvia can't do it. What the Dark Temple cultivates is bones and souls, and Sylvia's whole body is withered bones. But there is no physical body to say that. The surrounding players are even more jealous and crazy. This is the saint of the majestic Jade Dragon Temple. She has a beautiful appearance, excellent temperament, and a distinguished status. She also actively invited to join the dual cultivation. Damn! Why don't I have such good luck? A group of male players wanted to replace themselves as Suchen. Suchen himself looked at Ao Kishang with a half smile. Exquisite face, attractive figure. A pair of jade stones on the top of his head. The color dragon horn adds a bit of exotic style. Although it is not as beautiful as his black dragon Mengli, it is still stunning. She felt Suchen's wanton eyes looking at her. Ao Kishang was not angry but happy. As an old demon who has been here for hundreds of years, she has long been indifferent to matters between men and women. What she wants is real strength. What Ao Kishuang did not say is that the dual cultivation method of the Jade Dragon Temple also has an extremely domineering one. As a saint, she can devour the man's body in the process of dual cultivation. She can even devour the other man's qualifications. In this way, Ao Kishuang's qualifications are more likely to aspire to become the God General. Thinking of this, Ao Kishang even smiled at Suchen. The male players around him were fascinated by the sight. Oh! The strongest physical training method in the 6 realms. Jade Dragon Monument. Suchen raised the corner of his mouth and said with a smile. I have to go to the Jade Dragon Temple. Hearing Suchen's response, Ao Kishang smiled even more charmingly. That sect is at the Jade Dragon Temple, waiting for the good news of the young master. Suchen smiled and nodded. Of course he has to take advantage of this. But when the time comes, he will not go to the Jade Dragon Temple alone. Instead, he will bring thousands of God level 8 desolate dragon riders with him. Pushing all the way away. Meet he practices the method. He also wants this Jade Dragon Monument. Practicing in front of the sacred monument has such a powerful benefit effect. Then if he uses the infinite fusion talent to fuse the entire sacred monument into his own body, wouldn't that be even more powerful? As for dual cultivation with Ao Kishuang. Damn it! A hundreds-year-old witch has slept with who knows how many men, wouldn't it be disgusting to practice dual cultivation with her? Suchen is not that heavy the taste. The two agreed. Aokishang giggled and said. The young master is extremely talented, I can't wait for him. Why don't you raise the test level again to see how far you can reach the general level? Aokishang said this. Everyone in the field looked at Suchen again. In his eyes, there was jealousy, hatred, fear, but also excitement and expectation. Suchen looked at the colorful beam of light falling from above his head. There is also some movement. I don't know what level my qualifications can reach. Stopping as a general, he still rushes all the way to the main god, even the god level. Thinking of this, he said softly. Increase the test intensity and become a god. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 196. Current test intensity, general level. We are tested. Buzz. Still a colorful beam of light fell. However, among the 7 colored pillars of light, there is also a shadowy figure of an angry-looking general holding aloft a divine weapon, sitting in it. This makes the pressure of the light beam bring about the true power of a general. Boom. The terrifying power, with the pressure of a general, crashed down wildly. Takeneo Kuroda, who was standing next to Suchen, rolled his eyes and fainted just because he felt the remaining power of the Shogami. Although the other players were far away, they still felt uncomfortable. They all sat slumped on the ground, looking horrified. Even Soul Fighter Beifang, who had semi-god level qualifications, was half kneeling on the ground. The 4 people around, Aokishang, Asmodeus, Douglas, and Sylvia, looked at the shadow of the general in the colorful beam of light above Suchen's head, all with solemn expressions. The next moment, terrifying pressure fell on Suchen. In the eyes of everyone, Suchen remained motionless. Treat the power of the general as if it were nothing. His posture is still upright, he stands proudly, and his face is calm and relaxed. Dead silence. Dead silence. There was no sound at this moment in the huge Qingyun Palace. Under the terrifying general level pressure, everyone struggled to look at Suchen. Looking at the cold and serious young man who was the only person in the field. The look in his eyes was one of horror. Then, after a brief moment of dead silence, countless voices of exclamation erupted. Hiss. Unexpectedly, I can't feel anything about God. How strong are his qualifications? What is above the generals and gods? It seems like, he's the Lord God, this guy actually has Lord God level qualifications. Oh my God. The God of light worshipped by the Church of Light seems to be the main God, this guy actually has the same qualifications as the God of light. Too scary and too perverted. Aokishang looked at Suchen, the burning meaning in her beautiful eyes became more intense. Douglas, Sylvia, and Asmod had a murderous intention gradually emerging in their eyes. The agent forces of the 6 realms, although on the surface they want to make peace without fighting. But behind the scenes, they also suppress and compete with each other. Once the Jade Dragon Temple obtains a person with Master God level qualifications, once he is cultivated, the current fragile balance will inevitably collapse. The interests of other forces will be invaded by the Jade Dragon Temple. This is something Douglas and others cannot allow. Just as everyone had different expressions, Suchen issued an order again. Increase the test intensity to the main god level. Crack. An electric light as thick as an arm suddenly passed over Suchen's head. On the small Qingyun platform, the situation suddenly changed. Among the colorful light pillars, there was a main god sitting high on the altar, holding a scepter in his hand, his eyes indifferent. He looked at the people in the world. The terrifying pressure seemed to impose the weight of the entire ocean on the small table where Suchen was standing on the Qingyun pillar. Circles of residual power rippled. Click, collapse. AO the God level 7 color light pillars that had not yet dispersed by Kishuang and 4 other NPC level people were affected by the residual power ripples, and they all collapsed and dissipated. Even the divine light film around the King Yun pillar could not withstand it. All players, at this moment, all fainted. He died. Even the 4 Emerald City NPC generals brought by famous families rolled their eyes and fainted to the ground. The cardinals, elders, and black-robed soul generals brought by the 4 major forces including the Church of Light and the Jade Dragon Temple, the others, under the ripples of the remaining power, only struggled for a while, and then collapsed to the ground dripping with sweat. Like soft-legged shrimps, they could no longer get up. Ao Kishuang and the 4 of them acted as if they were facing the Lord God directly, without any resistance. With the force of the force, there was a pop, and everyone knelt down. There were 49 King Yun pillars in the field. Only 1 King Yun pillar was left, and there was 1 person standing. This person was Suchan. The strong wind disturbed his long hair, but it could not shake it. His figure. Looking at the phantom of the Lord above his head, he still stood proudly. There was no respect in his eyes. Only his eyes were full of defiance and deep coldness. It was as if he was the one sitting on the altar. Lord God, Wugan. This terrifying scene was only seen by the 20 NPCs from the 4 major forces present. Everyone's eyes were filled with deep horror. Even Ao Kishang no longer had the excitement, pride, and greed in her beautiful eyes. Only deep fear remains. If Suchen, who possesses the qualifications of the Lord God, is like an elephant, he can still make the daring Ao Kishuang dare to covet and swallow the elephant. So now, Suchen, who has no feelings for the main god and obviously possesses the qualifications of a god, is like an ancient Tyrannosaurus or a kunpeng that covers the sky. Ao Kishang's idea of taking advantage of Suchen's qualifications only ended up being backfired. Because Suchen's qualifications are too high? Ridiculously high? It is actually higher than the main god level Jade Dragon god enshrined in her Jade Dragon Temple. Reached the level of the Demon Queen, the Supreme Demon Queen. This is the Supreme One in the world. The real master. In this extremely terrifying moment, Suchen frowned slightly, curled his lips and said, "What kind of main god level test? Why do I still feel nothing at all? This thing must be broken." Suchen turned his head and looked at the other King Yun pillars. He found that there was a circle of people lying down. Even Ao Kishang and others were kneeling on the ground, looking at him with shock on their faces. Suchen said to himself with some surprise. Said to himself, "Well, it seems that my qualifications are too high." Then continue to increase the test intensity, God level. Hearing Suchen's words, Ao Kishang and the others shouted in horror no. But it was already late. Rumble, rumble. In the huge King Yun Palace, a dull and huge rolling thunder sound suddenly sounded. The heaven and earth trembled. The 49 King Yun pillars began to tremble violently. Even the indestructible King Yun Palace made a heart-wrenching sound. The squeaking sound. The wind transformed into a dragon, and the cloud transformed into a tiger. In the colorful pillar of light, the general gods poured down like a tide. The main gods were lined up on both sides, waiting with hands tied. Then, a vague human figure shrouded in a colorful halo descended to the pillar of light. Slowly stretched out a palm and pressed down on Suchen, who was standing proudly and motionless below. Boom, click. This palm only pressed down an inch. The 49 King Yun pillars around them all broke and sank 1 meter. For the 16 elder level NPCs from the big force all spat out a mouthful of blood and passed out. Faced with this terrifying pressure, the 4 of them, Ao Kishang, threw themselves to the ground and were pressed down on the table, not even raising a finger. Can't get up. Enough. Stop testing. Stop it. Ao Kishang, Sylvia, and others screamed in horror. Suchen curled his lips. I'll stop if you say stop. I haven't even tested my qualifications yet. Why don't I stop? Come again. In the colorful beam of light, Suchen faced the pressure of the god and laughed wildly. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 197. As Suchen finished speaking, a blurry figure shrouded in a colorful halo. The outstretched palm pressed down an inch again. The pressure suddenly doubled. Boom, click. 49 Qingyun pillars sank another meter under this terrifying pressure. Puff. Ao Kishang and others spurted out a mouthful of blood. Even his head was pressed tightly against the table, leaving a deep pit. Ha 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 ha. So powerless. Come again, come again. As Ao Kishang felt dizzy and tinnitus, she vaguely heard Suchen's wanton laughter again. What kind of monster is this? The last thought flashed through, and under the doubled pressure, the four of them, Ao Kishang, fainted. In the pillar of light, the god's palm kept pressing down amid Suchen's laughter. Inch after inch. The pressure is also increasing step by step. 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, 16 times. 49 Qingyun pillars also sank meter by meter. The huge Qingyun palace, under this pressure, began to shake violently like a wooden house in a storm. Pieces of gold bricks and jade tiles fell down. If those players who passed out were allowed to see it, they would definitely snatch it wildly. Only Suchen knew that these so-called gold bricks and jade tiles were actually the bones of gods and demons. It was transformed from the heart of divine power on Qingyun Palace. Wait until the god gives a palm and presses down 5 inches. When the pressure suddenly increased to 32 times. Suchen finally felt a little bit of pressure. Like a baby's little hands, resting lightly on your shoulders. Too light, too light. Bullshit god. Can you give me more strength? Suchen proudly stood on the pillar platform, pointed at the blurry figure in the beam of light, and shouted loudly. It seemed that he was angered by Suchen's arrogance. The god gave a palm and began to press down faster. 6 inches, 7 inches. 8 inches. The pressure increase rate has also changed from twice the original 1 level to 10 times the level. Suchen's shoulders sank suddenly. He finally felt the tremendous power. It was like a ton. It felt like a heavy car was weighing down on me. The Qingyun pillar under my feet also sank all the way until it was only 2 meters high. The bricks and stones of Qingyun Palace fell wildly downwards. Gradually, the skeleton of giant wood was revealed. Only 1 pillar remained in the middle to support it. The whole hall may collapse at any time. Creak, creak. Suchen's bones were crushed under the pressure. This terrifying pressure only aroused his ferocity. Avatar. He bumped his fists against his chest. The level 10 holy level skill god descends to earth immediately increased his size by 20 times. The whole person suddenly turned into a 36-meter tall giant. Under tremendous pressure, he reached out and grabbed it. The blurry figure of the god originally stood high above his head. He was actually caught in his hands. Ouch! Suchen actually swallowed it directly. Then he waved his hands again. The phantoms of a group of generals and gods around him were all blown away by him like fallen leaves swept away by a strong wind. At the same time, the 49 Qingyun pillars around them all exploded into balls of stone debris. There are only circles of faint divine light film left, barely maintaining. I have the Dragon King bloodline and a super god level talent. How can I allow a group of phantoms to show off their power in front of me? Suchen shouted coldly. Originally, these phantoms were all illusions of aptitude tests. They were only based on personal talents and opportunities. If you are not qualified enough, let alone activate skills to wipe out the phantoms. Even if you use artifacts, you will not be affected. None of them will be affected. Suchen's ability to wipe out these phantoms only proves that his qualifications far exceed the carrying capacity of these phantoms. Ding! The system prompt sounded suddenly in Suchen's mind. The number 36 God level test crashed. Player Junlin's qualifications exceed the test range of Qingyun Palace, and are temporarily rated as Super God level qualifications. Obtain qualification star level *10. Ding! Testing for all members completed. In 3 minutes, the qualification star reward session will begin. At the same time, qualification plundering is open. 30 seconds later, the god's descending skill ended. Suchen returned to his normal form. At the same time, the 48 people who were unconscious on the ground began to wake up gradually without the terrifying pressure. The first to wake up were Ao Kishang and 4 others. People. Ignoring their embarrassment, they quickly got up and looked in the direction of Suchen. They saw that cold and proud figure still standing proudly in the translucent divine light film. From the beginning to the end, nothing has changed. He passed the godly level strength test. Maybe not, he can even pass the god level test, so what level of qualifications does he have? Creator. Maybe he just woke up earlier than us. Ao Kishuang and the others whispered. Perhaps even they themselves don't know why they don't want to believe that Suchen passed the god level test. The qualifications of those beings were beyond their imagination. After the shock. Coincidentally, these 4 people all showed deep fear and murderous intent in their eyes. After leaving Qingyun Palace, you must report to the Pope as quickly as possible. God-level qualifications have threatened the existence of my divine realm. Unless he is willing to dedicate his talents to our Lord, otherwise, we can only strangle him to death in the cradle. Douglas, the Holy Son of the Church of Light, looked at Suchen's figure and thought gloomily. Asmod and the other 3 people also had the same idea. After a minute, other NPCs, including players from the 4 major guilds, also gradually they woke up. They did not see the scene of Suchen facing the Lord God and the pressure of the God level test. They just looked at the Qingyun temple that had been destroyed into a skeleton and were dumbfounded. What's the situation? The 5 gods fought after the test. Why did the copy of Qingyun Palace almost collapse? By the way, what level of qualifications does that big guy have? Finally, I seemed to see that he was tested to the main level. Oh my god. Among our players, there is actually someone with Master God level qualifications. Just when everyone was talking and wondering, 49 people were in the divine light film. Groups of colorful light began to fall. It's the qualification star level reward. Everyone is overjoyed. I got 2 dollops. Sorry, I got 4 regiments. I go. Take a look at the NPCs of the 4 major forces. They are either 5 or 6 groups with rewards. My qualifications have been upgraded to 6 stars in a row, I'm so envious. 5 or 6 regiments are nothing. Look at that anonymous boss. It's already the 7th group, and the rewards haven't stopped yet. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 198. 5 groups of colorful light groups are rewarded. What it represents is a demigod level qualification. The 6th group has true god level qualifications. On Suchen's side, he has already reached the reward of 7 groups of light. It means that he is at least a perfect true god, or even a general god. Buzz. Just when everyone's eyes were attracted to Suchen, the 8th 7-colored light group descended under everyone's extremely shocked eyes. Then it was quickly absorbed by Suchen. 8 regiments. Could it be that he actually has the qualifications of a master god? Damn it! The 9th regiment is coming out. The main god is perfect, even, god level. Oh my god! All the players were exclaiming. Ao Kishuang and the others stared at Suchen's head. They saw Suchen enter the divine level test. Therefore, it is not surprising that the 9th group qualification light group reward appears. The key now is whether Suchen can get the reward of the 10th colorful light group. In other words, the reward for the 10th group, whether it is a small half group, or a large half group, whether it is a low level, medium level, or high level god, does not keep everyone waiting. The 10th 7-colored light group squeezed out of the void with a volume that was 10 times larger than the other light groups. Then slowly descended towards Suchen. Ding! In view of the crash in the middle of the god level test, the 10th qualification star reward is doubled. Ding! Congratulations on triggering a super lucky event. The 10th qualification star reward will be doubled again. 2 consecutive system prompts suddenly sounded in his mind. Suchen was also stunned. The last qualification star level reward actually increased tenfold. Did the lucky gem make a contribution again? Looking at this super large group of 7-color light, everyone was dumbfounded. What's the situation? How can a qualified light group be so big? This one is enough to hold up 10 light groups, right? What does Nima mean? God is perfect? Or is the God super perfect? Ao Kishuang and the 4 of them looked at each other. They all saw incomparable horror in each other's eyes. The reward for the 10th group was the appearance of a 7-colored light group of this size. This can only prove that the other party's qualifications have exceeded the level of a god. She is an existence with more talents and opportunities than the demon queen of the demon realm, the demon lord of the demon realm, the god king of the god realm, and the ghost realm of the ghost realm. If this child cannot be used by me, it must be destroyed. The 4 of them, Ao Kishang, all had the same thought. The 10th group of super light balls fell. Ding! You gain a qualification star level increase of add 10. One group is worth 10. Including the rewards from the previous 9 groups of 7-colored light, Suchen's qualification level has been increased by a total of 19 stars this time. The qualification has soared from the original 21 stars to 40 stars in an instant. This increase in speed is so cool. You know, before he used the super god level fusion talent to fuse god and demon essence, he could only improve his qualification by 1 star. Now it has been improved to 19 stars in one go. This is equivalent to 19 super god level fusion times. The reward link is over. The plundering session begins. Phantoms float out above the heads of the players who have started plundering. Swallow it. The member of the Dark Temple, who occupied the position of an elite member of a famous family, transformed into a 10-meter-long snake phantom above his head. He jumped towards a player next to him. Not to be outdone, the elite member of the famous family transformed into a snake above his head. The 8-meter-long giant snake opened its mouth and screamed furiously at the members of the Dark Temple. Poof! 2 long snakes were fighting in the air. The elite members of the famous family were not as qualified after all, and a piece of flesh was bitten off by the opponent. Ding! Dark Temple Guild I Love Sakai Nariko wins. Successfully plundered the qualification star level *0.5 of the famous family guild master, please stay. With 1 plunder, you can get 0.5 qualification stars from the opponent. You must know that these elite members only received a little more than 2-star rewards in total. Seeing such huge plundering gains, everyone showed off their strengths. The phantom of the snake swallowed up the surrounding players. For a moment, long snakes danced wildly in Qingyun Temple. The channel in the dungeon area kept ringing prompts. Kuroda Takeneo has lower holy level qualifications. With the thought, the top of his head immediately transformed. A 100-meter-long dragon with a single horn. As soon as it appeared, the long snake phantoms of all the elite players in the field were so frightened that they shrank back into their bodies. Takeru Kuroda glanced at Suchen next to him with a gloomy expression. It's not that I want to rob you. If I hadn't plundered him, I would have swallowed up all the qualification star rewards. Different from other guild leaders, Kuroda Takeneo devoured it without distinguishing between friend and foe. He wants to devour the qualification stars of other guild members, and he also wants to devour the qualifications of his own guild players. The greedy and selfish character is clearly revealed. The 100-meter dragon swam down and swallowed a full 6 qualification stars. More rewards than he himself received. Takeneo Kuroda, you have crossed the line. Bulago Imperial City Gang leader Soul Battle Beifang said in a deep voice. He is the only player among the players, except Suchan, who has advanced demigod qualifications. With a thought, a 900-meter long half-dragon appeared above his head. With 2 horns and 4 claws on the top of his head, only the skin of a dragon has not been shed cleanly. He wandered away and immediately flew to the sky above Takuchi Kuroda, opened his mouth and sucked. Ding! The Guild of Fulugo Imperial City Soul Battle in all directions wins. Successfully plundered the qualification star level *3 of the Dark Temple Guild Kuroda Takeneo. The higher the qualifications, the more stars will be obtained through plunder. Kuroda Takeneo was sucked in by Soul Battle Beifang, and half of the 6 stars he just grabbed were directly sucked away by the opponent. Hateful. Souls are fighting in all directions, do you dare to be the enemy of my dark temple? Kuroda Takeshi faced Shen Rushui directly and gritted his teeth. Soul War Beifang sneered, when your father comes, I will give him some thin noodles. As for you, haha. The demigod level qualifications have moved, and the elder level NPCs of the 4 major agent forces can no longer sit still. One after another, they revealed their own dragon phantoms. Sweep around. Everyone knows that the real plunder is yet to come. If you don't accumulate some stars for yourself now, I'm afraid that in the end, all your wealth will be robbed. These elder level NPCs plundered them. Among the 19 elite players present, except for the female elite member in Fulugo Imperial City who received an epic low level, all the star rewards received by the other members were plundered. This trip to Qingyun Palace is a waste of time. Even with epic qualifications, it's not easy. The more than 3 points of star rewards obtained were plundered by demigod level experts, and only 1 or 2 points were left. The leader of the famous family, the celebrity behind the scenes, has epic advanced qualifications. Now there are only 2 star rewards left. Even though I feel a little uncomfortable. But a pair of eyes were still staring in the direction of Suchan. He was the only one who guessed Suchan's true identity. At this moment, his eyes showed great anticipation and excitement. Loot, plunder them all. The real master has not yet taken action. Lord Junlin, you really did not disappoint me. Qualifications beyond the level of gods, cannot even be compared to the Holy Son and the Holy Daughter. In this Qingyun Palace competition, you are destined to dominate the world. Take control of the whole place. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 199. All creatures have greed, the only difference is how much. Even saints and saints like Ao Kishang and Douglas are the same. For people who have reached the level of true gods like them, it is even more difficult to reach the sky if they want to take a step further with their strength. Nowadays, there is such a good opportunity to obtain more qualifications. No one will let go of this golden opportunity. Plunder. Asmod, the great elder of the Solomon sect, knew that his qualifications were the weakest among the 4. At the moment, he first showed the shadow above his head. Hold head high, with a sound. A 1,500-meter-long phantom of a real dragon with golden horns, golden armor, and 4 claws appeared out of the sky. He opened his mouth and took a breath. All the star rewards received by those with saint-level qualifications in the field returned to 0. Even the rewards of demigod-level qualifications were robbed by 20%. The expressions on the faces of the elder level NPCs changed one after another. The demons acted without any scruples. Asmodeus and Kuroda taken AO, even this the qualifications of the religious elders were also plundered. He actually got a full 20-star qualification. Ha 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 Asmod, you are so anxious, maybe you are not worried about being robbed by us. Sylvia, the leader of the Dark Temple, let out a hoarse, difficult laugh. At the same time, a 1,800-meter-long shadow of a true dragon flew above her head, and flew directly over Asmodeus. She stretched out her golden claws, he slapped the opponent fiercely. Ouch! Asmod's true dragon shadow let out a shocking scream. This claw directly tore off a large piece of flesh and blood, and the golden blood spilled into the air, turning into dots of starlight and dissipating. Ding! Dark Temple Dark Sylvia wins. Successfully plundered the qualification star level *5 of the Solomon cult demon Asmod. Before Asmodeus changed his expression, Aokishang and Douglas also took action one after another. They also plundered Asmodeus's 5-star qualification. At the same time, they began to rob other people's qualification rewards, and both got 25-star qualifications. This time, the gap between the qualifications of Asmod and Aokishuang became even greater. For a moment, their entire faces turned black. However, the qualifications of Aokishuang and the others are actually slightly different from each other. Qualification level is related to personal potential and ultimate achievement. Even if it is ascent, we must fight for it. The three of them started fighting with each other again. At this moment, Suchen suddenly opened his eyes and looked into the eyes of everyone in the field, revealing a frightening cold light. Buzz! An invisible wave suddenly descended on the entire Qingyun Palace. The main hall with only the skeleton left began to shake violently. A tooth-breaking creaking sound sounded everywhere in the main hall. Everyone suddenly startled. Looking around, I don't know what happened. Only Aokishuang and the other three still control their own real dragon shadows and fight fiercely in the air. Boom! It seems that there is some kind of taboo-like existence that breaks through the space wall. Came to this world. A huge noise exploded in everyone's ears. Even the fighting of Aokishang and others had to stop. They all looked into the void above their heads. They saw the sky above the tens of thousands of meters of the hall. The space suddenly collapsed, revealing an extremely dark and chaotic void. At the same time, 5 points of golden light suddenly appeared. As the golden light gradually grew larger, these 5 points gradually became one. In everyone's horrified eyes, a 10,000 golden light gradually appeared. The golden claws were as huge as 3 meters. The golden claws were stained with the color of bronze and stone stains left over by the ages. A terrifying pressure followed. Puff, puff, puff. Players below the epic level fell to the ground again. Falling to the ground. Below the demigod level, all 5 bodies fell to the ground. A true god level like Aokishang also knelt on his knees. This is 5-clawed, golden dragon. No. The 5-clawed golden dragon is not so powerful and huge. The NPC elder of the Jade Dragon Temple, who had lived for hundreds of years, looked at the giant claw with a frightened face and said in a trembling voice. Could it be, that it was the totem of the great Yan Empire thousands of years ago? A younger elder asked what totem? Hasn't the great Yan Empire been destroyed? The older elder explained in a trembling voice the empire can be destroyed, but as long as those remaining people are not exterminated, the great Yan Empire's totem will never disappear. So, who is the owner of this golden claw? Saint Aokishang of the Jade Dragon Temple took over the topic, knelt on the ground, looked up at the golden claws above her head, and said 2 words with great difficulty. Zalong. Hearing these 2 words, the 4 top power NPCs all lost their voices. The NPC generals in Emerald City were suddenly shocked when they heard these 2 words. It turned out to be the phantom of Zalong. They raised their heads with difficulty and looked in the direction of Suchen. Of all the people in the field, he was the only one who still stood proudly, motionless. Could it be that he triggered Zilong? According to legend, the ancestral dragon is the creator of the entire divine continent. Even the six realms are just a parasitic world on the divine continent. It can be said that Zilong is the ancestor of the entire divine continent and all six realms. Not to mention the phantom of the real dragon evolved by the four major forces. Even if the master of the six realms comes, he can't compete with the power of the ancestral dragon. That's why the great Yan Empire thousands of years ago took the ancestral dragon as the imperial totem and had the pride to defy the six realms. Just when everyone was stunned and speechless, the 10,000-meter golden claws above King Yun Palace began to slowly descend. Boom! The terrifying pressure made everyone fall into the gold bricks of King Yun Palace a foot deep. He wants to rob us all of our qualifications. Don't want. Stop it. As the great elder of the Solomon sect, I order you to stop immediately if you want to survive. Only the leader of the famous family, the celebrity behind the scenes, laughed loudly while being suppressed to the ground and unable to move. Anyway, his qualifications and stars had been robbed long ago. Now Suchen robbed the entire audience, including the four top. The forces couldn't escape, and I suddenly felt a sense of joy in my chest, bursting out. Ha 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 ha. Plunder. Swallow all these damn, greedy, and self-consciously superior forces. King's arrival. You have the qualifications of an ancestral dragon and the qualifications of a supreme being. Great opportunities are all around you. After the King Yun Palace dungeon, the 300,000 members of my famous family will definitely take refuge in you. Even if you are fighting against the six realms, what is there to fear? Crack. In the chaotic void, 10,000 meters of golden claws slowly gathered together. Suddenly, all the long snakes, dragons, and real dragon phantoms in the field exploded like fireworks. System prompts poured into Suchen's mind like a tide. Come. Ding. The God of War Guild King's Landing wins. Successfully plunder all the qualification stars rewards from the Solomon cult demon Asmodeus. Ding. The God of War Guild King's Landing wins. Successfully plunder all the qualification stars rewards from the Jade Dragon Temple Long Ao Kishuang. Ding. The God of War Guild King's Landing wins. Successfully plunder all qualification star rewards from the Church of Light St. Douglas. Ding. Ding. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 200. The 10,000-meter golden claw came out. All the star-level rewards received by everyone in the field were taken away by Suchen alone. Suddenly, Suchen's qualification level began to skyrocket crazily. 40 stars. 66 stars. 102 stars. 139 stars. 182 stars. 219 stars. 258 stars. All the qualification stars obtained by the 48 people in the audience were taken away by him alone. The qualification star level has skyrocketed from the previous 40 stars to 258 stars. This means that from now on, he can get 258 free attribute points every time he levels up. Level 1 is equivalent to someone else's leveling up to 50 levels. Cool. Suchen let out a long roar. However, with the grasp of the 10,000-meter golden claw, the entire King Yun Palace finally could no longer support it. The main hall, which had become a skeleton, collapsed suddenly. Fortunately, everyone in the scene had a light film of divine power around them. Protection. Otherwise, ordinary players will be smashed to death. When the dust and smoke settled, the 10,000-meter golden claws in the sky finally dissipated. The terrifying pressure disappeared, and everyone was finally able to stand up and look around. All they saw was a messy hall. In the ruins, almost everyone's face was full of bitterness or gloom. Only a few looked indifferent, such as the celebrity behind the scenes. Everyone couldn't help but look at Suchen, the only winner. Solomon University. The elder demon Asmodeus said to Suchen pitifully. The boy is so brave. How dare you plunder our sex qualifications? After leaving the ruins of the imperial city, follow our sect to the Solomon section if you dare to resist. With your current strength, this sect can kill you with just one hand. Ao Kishuang and the other three stared at Suchen with gloomy expressions. There was no concealment of the murderous intent in their eyes. Suchen plundered the qualification stars of the four major forces without any scruples. It was equivalent to pressing the faces of the four major forces to the ground. Trample. The kind that robbed them of all their belongings and even their shorts after trampling them. Such unscrupulous humiliation and plunder, coupled with Suchen's own superb qualifications, would have already touched the red line of the four major forces. If it hadn't been, now everyone was still trapped in the divine light film. Asmod and others had already taken action. Facing the threats from the four major forces, Suchen laughed. Not to mention that he was in disguise, it was difficult for the other party to see through it. His true form. Even if the four major forces knew his real name of Junlin, it would be difficult for Asmod and the four of them to take him down. With Shura's sword and nearly 2.8 billion experience points, even Asmod, even if others sacrifice themselves and summon generals and gods to descend on the dungeon, they can't stop the power of his sword. Moreover, he possesses the attributes of the artifact. Heaven and earth are at my disposal and has the holy level advanced skill flash. If you want to advance, come in, leave whenever you want, no one can trap him. Only Dragon City is more troublesome. If he is targeted by the opponent and releases a general strike, Suchen really can't keep Dragon City in a short period of time. Unless he can build a group of the God Demon level 8 Desolate Dragon Riders. Or build the Dragon City into the world's #1 city that can suppress gods and demons just like the imperial city of the Great Yan Empire thousands of years ago. He has now obtained the Forbidden Curse level God-killing tower blueprint fragments, such holy objects. As long as he goes back and fuses them, and gives him enough time and resources, he will definitely be able to build a God-killing tower that can kill gods and demons. By then, on the four walls of the Dragon City that has become a floating city, go up and build tens of thousands of God-killing towers. Even if he enters the land of Tianyuan, he will be worthy. Time. Resource. Suchen slowly clenched his fists. He understood it from the moment he obtained the infinite fusion talent. In this life, what he has to face is not billions of players. Instead, there are countless NPCs in the God's Domain online game, as well as the superior gods and demons of the 6 realms. My strength is still too weak now. A mere ordinary agent force from the 6 realms can threaten me. Growth must be accelerated. Capture the city and expand the scale of dragon cavalry. Upgrade and strengthen Dragon City. In addition, the artifact in the real world that can communicate virtuality and reality must also be obtained. While Suchen was thinking secretly. Ding. A system prompt sounded in the ears of all players in the audience. Ding. Qingyun Temple, the level is over. Please enter the teleportation array and go to the final level of the Imperial City Ruins instance Ghostland. Small teleportation arrays appeared in the divine light film around everyone. As long as you step in with your feet, you can teleport. However, just when everyone was about to enter, the ruins of Qingyun Palace scattered around, including gold bricks, jade tiles, and broken pillars, began to slowly dissipate. Suddenly, the original appearance of the entire hall, a ghost palace built with thousands of bones of gods and demons, appeared in front of everyone. And above the white bones, in the center, a crystal the size of a baby's fist slowly rotated, floated in the air. And it shook out circles of colorful ripples, covering the entire white bone ghost palace. Seeing such a strange phenomenon, everyone stopped entering the teleportation array. This is. Is this the real King Yun Palace? What is that crystal? An NPC general from Emerald City asked. Players can see the ID above the spar. Immediately, a dozen people exclaimed its heart of divine power. It turned out to be a god-level item. And the white bones around, turned out to be bones of gods and demons. Oh my god! The entire King Yun temple was actually made from the withered bones of countless gods and demons, and then used the heart of divine power to maintain its operation. This is really a big deal. The eyes of all the players were full of shock. The two words gods and demons, in everyone's mind, are the unrivaled supreme existence. But here, thousands of dead gods and demons, their bones were torn down to make walls and built into a hall. It seems that the great Yan Empire thousands of years ago was powerful enough to rival the six realms, otherwise it would not have slaughtered so many gods and demons. The leader of the Buluo Imperial City Soul Battle Beifang said with a shocked face. The NPCs from the four major forces all looked at the crystal above their heads. The four of them, Ao Kishang, came with the mission of finding the heart of divine power. When I saw the crystal above my head, my eyes suddenly lit up. It's really hard to find anything after wearing iron shoes. It turns out that the heart of divine power is above the King Yun Palace. Douglas, the holy son of the Church of Light, expressed surprise. The heart of divine power can permanently condense divine power and is a supreme treasure. If the divine power is sufficient, the true God-level qualifications of Douglas, Ao Kishuang, and others will be enough to condense their godhood and ascend to the six realms, surpassing hundreds of millions of people. Quick! The four of you immediately sacrifice, summon the true God-level blue dragon, break the surrounding divine light film, and seize the heart of divine power. Ao Kishang ordered the four elders of the Jade Dragon Temple. The latter looked at each other bitterly and had no choice but to grit their teeth and accept the order, sit cross-legged, and chant a spell. Seeing this scene, the Church of Light, the Temple of Darkness, and the Solomon sect all ordered their elders, black-robed soul generals, and cardinals to start offering sacrifices. Just when the four major forces are trying to compete for the heart of divine power, some players suddenly looked above their heads and exclaimed, "Look! There seems to be someone up there. Green skin, long nose, he's a gnome. How did he get up there? Not good. He is going to get the heart of divine power."